Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. This is going to be my post 11.0.5 Warlock feedback video for Demonology. Now, I recorded all these videos about 2 weeks ago, and the changes came in. I'm re-recording them now because things have sort of maybe panned out a little bit. Got a couple more ideas and feelings how things are, where they're at, and all that. So, I want to make this video updating something, I guess, y'all on some of the feedback points, all that kind of stuff, and go from there. Now, I'll be doing also this series per spec. This is going to be Demonology. The class tree video came out a couple weeks ago, give or take, if you want to go and look back at that. But high hopes for some changes coming in 11.0.7 or 11.1. Also, real fast, we're getting too far into the video here. This expansion, and over the next year or so, we're going to be making a big push for 100,000 subs on YouTube. The fact that I'm at 85,000, roughly around there, in general, is utterly insane to me. It blows my mind. I never thought I'd be anywhere near around that. Maybe a few thousand. I could pay for groceries once a month with it. So I owe it all to y'all. Thank you all so much for all the support. I did want to bring up, though, briefly, that about 50% of y'all that watch the videos, which I'm incredibly grateful for, are not subbed to the channel. So if you do feel like subbing, maybe, you know, love me enough to consider doing that, well, maybe possibly consider doing so and hitting the bell down below while you're at it, and help Kala achieve one of his lifelong goals. Now, let's get into the video. Now, getting into Demonology feedback here, both for Diabolus and Soul Harvester, hitting on both hero talents off the bat. I really think that both are honestly in a pretty solid spot. I do want to point out there's an issue with Ruination for Diabolus, both for Destruction and Demonology. And that is based around Ruination. If you cast Ruination on a target that basically dies while the animation of the meteor lands and all that, no damage is dealt and imps don't spawn. Should likely be looked at. It's good bit of quality of life, and I mean, I guess you technically can tab target it around a little bit, but the duration of Ruination, I believe, is 20 seconds, as long it lasts that long. And from time to time in certain packs and M plus or whatever, you don't always have the chance to cast Ruination with one pack dying going to the next, or for whatever reason. I've lost procs from time to time having to hold that. Besides that, though, Diabolus, getting all there again, does feel pretty solid. It's thematically one of the coolest, I'd say, hero talents in the game. We've got Big Mommy spawning, Overlords, Pit Lords every so often. It also was not hit by the Diabolic Ritual change that Destruction was hit by, where Hand of Gul'dan costing 3 shards still reduces Ritual by 3 seconds. Now, I will say Hand is a cast time compared to Rain of Fire, so it makes sense, everything, but still, it still feels very solid, I would say, overall. When it comes to Soul Harvester, I think to a similar extent, it also feels pretty good. Hand of Gul'dan was buffed by 20%, I believe, a week and a half ago, give or take. So it affects both demonic souls, with Succulent Souls empowering Hand of Gul'dan, and also affecting Touch of Rancora for both here. And like I said, honestly, I think both feel pretty solid. Shared Fate, Demon Bolt, Doom, target, like tab targeting gameplay feels good. The 3 shards you get from Shadow of Death whenever you Tyrant feels good, like a mini Baleful invocation in a sense. And I think both are solid. You definitely feel, or you can definitely see Diabolus a lot more than Soul Harvester. But in the end, they don't really change the rotation of Demonology that drastically regardless. You're still Tyranting the same and all that for the most part, barring demons giving more shards and resources from Diabolus. So both are fine, I'd say, overall. In the end, typically it's tuning ends up being, you know, the reason we play one another here. At least it has been in the first patch. Getting into the actual spec tree here, I will say changes were made last week. I recorded all these videos already for Destro Demo and AF. I was going to put them out, and then changes came in. So I'm re-recording it now. The big change that came in, they buffed Grimoire by 100%, I believe. Grimoire's buffed. Hand of Gul'dan was buffed. Something else is buffed too. Oh, dogs. I believe they're melee damage. And they also gave Dreadstalkers a guaranteed chance, I mean, it's guaranteed, to get a demonic core back whenever they expire. So you once again are indeed getting 2 demonic cores back whenever your dog expire, which feels very good. It is to change, one of the changes Demonology I think is needed for a while now, since they, you know, changed that. I think in maybe Alpha, I'm not sure exactly when, but it felt, I mean, I'm not going to harp on it too much because it's already been changed. We talked about it already, but having those 2 guaranteed cores from your dogs is incredibly important for Demonology. Rotational fluidity, consistency, Tyranting every minute, having those guaranteed cores for Tyrant setups is exceptionally strong, and what makes the spec feel like it flows properly, at least, you know, mostly proper. Now, as far as spec tree feedback goes, I'm going to pass down here, hit on some notes. I think might need some changes here and there. I don't know. Wishful thinking is not going to happen. I love old Imp Gang boss back. They gave you imps whenever you imploded. Thematically, it was one of the coolest talents we've seen in a very long time. Would love that back. Just, you know, wishful thinking for the most part. When it comes to bombers versus strength, I'm not sure what's happening exactly with strength now. Apparently there was an issue with Grimoire Felguard and Felguard doing more damage in game than in Sims. I'm not sure if it's considered a bug at this point or whatever. The last thing I had heard that it is very likely worth hitting demonic strength in single target, comparatively to not, which I thought for a while. And even if it's not worth hitting, whether it's bugged or not, it's probably a very minuscule loss. Even if it's not, I'm hitting it in single target. Whenever all that's figured out, we'll know more. I'm not smart enough to do Sims. Other people are smarter than me, can write them. I wish I could help, but either way, there's that. Besides that, pathing down a bit more here. So I think Invocation is fine for the most part. Wicked Maw is very good. We were pathing through Strength when it was assumed to be not worth in single target just to get Wicked Maw. Very strong. Now, when it comes to Fiendish Ablation coming out of Grimoire Felguard, we are indeed playing Grimoire Felguard everywhere at this point. At least I would assume so. Certainly in rating, typically I would assume an M+ as well because of how strong it is. Fiendish Ablation, I talk about this giving you a demonic core when you cast Grimoire Felguard and not when it expires in the other feedback video, because it would help with Tyrant setup and consistency getting cores back. Well, Tyrant setup is better now, because you're going to have Dreadstalkers expiring the previous cast to give you cores for your setup. I still think moving this core from whenever Felguard ends to whenever whenever you cast it is quite possibly still the better play in the move here. Because whenever your Tyrant ends, so we actually have guaranteed cores from dogs now, so I'll try and go into this briefly here. To say it's I siphoned wrong, but it's fine, it doesn't really matter. Say we're opening up here, doing what we need to do. I'll cast Grimoire, cast Purple Dog, I'll cast a Shadow Bolt, my regular dogs here. I'm gonna cast a Bolt. Wasn't like the best opener, but it's fine. Whatever. Here's another core. Feels good. We'll hand. We'll just Tyrant now. No big deal. And we'll do our normal rotation, right? Now, the thing is that I have a dog set active right now with an extension on it. I have a Grimoire, which would give me a core if I was playing Ablation. I'm not. And I have other pets out as well. Now, also, I'm gonna have another set of dogs being cast right about now. These dogs are going to expire in about 2 seconds. So I'm going to get, 2 cores coming in from them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Other pets expiring. Launches cores. Trying to get up cores. 3 cores. Launching cores. 2 more cores here from that dog set. At the end of a Tyrant, that's all without Fiendish Ablation, right? At the end of a Tyrant, you have multiple imps expiring, which can give you a core per imp whenever they expire. Your dogs are expiring, that set of 2 that you cast for your actual ramp. The second set of dogs you cast towards the end of your Tyrant are going to expire about 5 seconds later, and you have other things expiring as well. If you factor, you're already overcapping a decent bit of time. If you factor in Fiendish Ablation there, it makes things even more awkward when it comes to core overcapping. Now, once again, I don't think that it's an issue of, it's not having the core be given to you when you cast Grimoire would make things even smoother when it comes to rotational play, because at times in your opener, if you're opening up and siphoning and all that, you're casting like a Grimoire. You're like pre-casting a Shadow Bolt, and you cast your Grimoire and go to 4 shards. You got to cast a Shadow Bolt again, go to 5, and then you cast this thing, and go back to 4, and then you're at 5 again by Shadow Bolting. If you were able to just go, all right, cool, I'm going to pre-cast a couple Shadow Bolts, for example, pulling the boss, and let's go, all right, I'm at 5, Grimoire, dog, and then use that core from the Grimoire to launch, be at 5 shards, and then, ramp past there, it would feel a lot more fluent. But there's this weird, all right, well, Shadow Bolt, Grimoire, Shadow Bolt, Purple Dog, Shadow Bolt, or if you get cores coming in and refines, you react to it appropriately. And at times it changes, but it's that weird sort of semi-slow, I hate to use the word clunkiness, but it sort of is clunky in a sense. So that factored in, plus just in general, if you're playing this, it does increase damage to Grimoire, which is fine. That's also a relevant part of this, but the core you get is very likely just gonna be wasted, if not very close to being it, because you're getting so many cores coming in at the end of your Tyrant cast when 4 dogs are expiring, 20 imps are expiring, a Grimoire could be expiring with this, right? It just becomes a little excessive. So there's that. Maybe move this to be whenever you cast Grimoire, you get that core. Blood Invocation just feels sort of awkward. I don't really know what, I guess if there's some build that would do a lot of debuffable damage, maybe it'd be worthwhile. It feels like it could be something else around Power Siphon. Not really sure. Maybe siphoning. I'm not even really sure. I think thematically you could factor in some cool stuff here. Some demo-esque stuff whenever you siphon. Maybe it's Blood Siphon, Power Siphon into Blood Siphon. Whenever you Power Siphon, you spawn I don't know, a cool demon maybe a little big mommy, I don't know, something like that. Be cool to like tie like a minor cooldown increase into what Power Siphon is, but like the extra damage feels sort of awkward, sort of passive, but you could thematically make that a little more exciting maybe. You know, whenever you siphon, every half a minute it spawns like, I don't know, a Charhound, some little small thing. I don't know, some cool little demon like that, you know. Maybe it spawns an extra imp or an imp gang boss, maybe, I don't know. Some way to work it in. By the way, that'd be cool. But at this point, it feels a little lackluster, and they're showing sort of that. When it comes to the Umbral Blaze, Imp Mother, I guess, pathing here, this feels a lot like Affliction. It was Haunt into Seized Vitality into Haunted Soul. You wanted Haunt, you wanted Haunted Soul, but you did not want to play Seized Vitality. Seized Vitality was terrible, and it was 2 talent points, if I remember right. You had to pay the toll of Seized Vitality to get to Haunted Soul or whatever, and it felt bad. I'm putting points in a talent that are like, it's like I don't really want to play, I don't really care much for it to get the reward here, right? Now, I think Umbral Blaze is like fine-ish in single target. I have some sims here, actually. I know where it landed, but I have some sims somewhere. Where did it land here? I think it's in Hand of Gul'dan. I'm not even sure where it is. Ruination, Doom. I don't even see it in here, actually. I'm playing it, right? Where is Umbral Blaze? Hand of Gul'dan, Impact, Demon Stalker, or Dreadstalker, Demon Wall. I don't even see it. Am I crazy? I might be crazy. I very well could be crazy. If I'm crazy, let me know. It's not this. It's just not here, right? I don't even see it. Am I crazy? Hand of Gul'dan, Impact. This is not it. Is it under Shadow Bolt? I have no idea where it is. But regardless, the ability is, I don't know where it's at, actually. Either way, the ability feels sort of awkward. Now, because you're having to go through this ability, which is a single target ability, it's RNG chance. When it Hand of Gul'dan lands in a mob, it can apply a dot that does a little bit of damage for 6 seconds. Now, the effect does like add damage on, which is nice. That was a clause added later on, but it feels like having to take this in Mythic Plus or AoE settings to get Imp Mother, which is what you want everywhere. This is a universally applicable trait. It's good everywhere. This trait, not so much. This is basically good in a single target. However, if Umbral Blaze were to land on a target, and like if it procs, you know, maybe it applies the full dot to that target, but it'll apply like a splash lesser dot to the targets around it, very similar to Hand of Doom we had in Legion, a very loved talent. Everybody liked it for a long time. That'd be really cool. Maybe if that happens, it does less damage to the main target it lands on, and like, you know, maybe a little bit like, maybe it like splits damage amongst the mobs that it hits, but still is a little more relevant in AoE than single target. That'd be really cool. It would make Umbral Blaze finally received as a cool ability, because it's Hand of Gul'dan or Hand of Doom-esque, and it would feel okay. It would feel good playing Umbral Blaze Mythic Plus, pathing into Imp Mother, but it feels terrible having to path into a low proc chance, niche, single target talent to get to a universally applicable one. You could do that, or just move this around. Put this here, put this here. But no, if you did that, nobody ever plays talent. Well, maybe not ever, but like it seems pretty minuscule. So, yeah, there's that. This sim is bothering me. Is it really not here? I'm playing Umbral Blaze. You know, I'll look into that at some point. It's really not here, isn't it? Wild Imp, Felguard, Vile Fiend, Demonic Tyrant, Hand of Gul'dan. It used to be in here. Maybe it's just factoring it all into Hand of Gul'dan damage. I don't know. I'm not going to pull up the breakdown in there. I don't really care. But yeah, so moving on from there, besides that, other talents, I mean, for the most part, like, in the actual Doom row here, Doom feels fine, at least to me it feels fine. I really wish the Pact of Eredruin, like the Doom Guard, would volley Doom Bolts, like it did at the end of S3 and 4 in Dragonflight. Felt really good in Plus, was very cool to see him volleying, I guess, yeah, Doom Bolts. Did more damage to a single target compared to less, but, you know, more bolts in AoE. Was very cool, wouldn't mind that. Wasn't too OP or anything. That'd be a cool little, you know, point to have back there. Like thematically on it too. It basically is the bonus from there anyways, with Doom and, you know, Doom spreading and all that, right? Now, as far as everything else is concerned, I was looking at a build a minute ago, it looked like this, because I had simmed this build. So when it comes to like this side of the tree, these were bugged until recently. I don't know exactly where they land right now, but I know that Immutable Hatred is not very strong. So I've run a sim. This is the Immutable Hatred build right here. And this is the single target build right here that I have been playing, right? Here is the single target build, 1.376, and I am a Mecha Gnome. Here is the Immutable Hatred build. Both are indeed playing Immutable Hatred. Or sorry, both are playing Umber Blaze here, but this one is playing Immutable Hatred. The damage is a decent bit lower. Now, maybe you can put some points somewhere else to make it a little stronger, but regardless, Immutable Hatred amounts to about 2.5% of your overall damage, and that feels pretty minuscule to me for being an N-tier capstone ability, right? Now, our Demonic Core economy was nerfed a bit, a decent bit coming into War Within with, you know, the dog reversions and the removal of Born of Blood and all that. They have reverted the core thing again. Hatred does still sim pretty low for me for the most part. I wouldn't mind just maybe drawing attention to Hatred, maybe getting a little bit of like tuning, a little bit of an eye on it here and there. It might be worth looking at and buffing a bit. I wouldn't mind playing it in certain spots if it ended up being worthwhile, but this side of the tree just feels like it's sort of not dead, but sort of like it's all like passive. Crit strike damage increase, Felguard crit chance increase, and like just Felguard stuff, but it doesn't even really do anything. The damage is not really very strong. So there's that. Maybe it's looked at, but want to draw attention to that general side of the tree here. And I think one of the last things I want to draw attention to here towards the end of this feedback is Demonology's Tyrant, I guess ramp rotation. Now, it's not like it's, I mean, the core changes to Demonology, the dogs, back to 100%, help. They're nice, all the above. I will say that when it comes to everything else, though, when you're ramping a Tyrant in combat on a boss fight, mobility is better with the cores coming in. But Tyrant ramp on fights that are pretty mobile, like Mythic Antrek, even Heroic Antrek, a bunch of fights out there. This raid is incredibly mobile, very demanding for mobility, right? It becomes a bit of a headache. Number one, because Ray of Tyranny gives you 15 imps max in your Tyrant. It's usually 10, but Rain gives you 5 more. We never hit that, by the way. It feels very awkward. That's a weird, like, secondary clause there. But it feels like you're often struggling to maximize the value in your Tyrant in a lot of spots this tier because you have to cast your Grimoire, then a Shadow Bolt, then your Vile Fiend, then a Shadow Bolt or a Core, then cast your Dogs, then a Handy Gul'dan, then a Bolt, then a Handy Gul'dan, then a Bolt, then a Handy Gul'dan, then cast your Tyrant. At that point, man, it's been like 20 seconds. And, like, if you scuff that, all your pets expire, and you know, there's that. Now, I know there is a bit of like a skill, you know, ceiling gap, whatever you want to call it there, but in a lot of fights, this tier and things, it does feel pretty demanding, right? So, I mean, for a normal opener here, I'll start precasting, like, say the boss is about, you know, 4 seconds away from being pulled. Shadow Bolt, start ramping here. Grimoire, I got a core there, cast my Gloomhound, cast a Shadow Bolt, cast Dogs, cast a Demon Bolt, cast a Handy Gul'dan, cast a Demon Bolt, cast a Handy Gul'dan, cast a Handy Gul'dan, cast Tyrant, cast Strength. I'm like 17, 18, 20 seconds into a pull here. And like, at times in your opener and things, maybe it isn't that mobile. Or there's not like that much like mobility requirements there. And you can execute that. But at other times, when it's coming back around, you know, a minute or so later, because Tyrant is a minute cooldown, you have to cast that same rotation in combat when you're dealing with mechanics on, you know, Antrek, this, that, whatever. It just feels really... At times, it's very rough to manage and deal with. On top of that, we just cast our actual Gloomhound here, Gloomhound and Charhound. I think it's very punishing. Their cooldown is 30 seconds. Because your Tyrant is a minute exactly. Gloomhound is 30 second cooldown, basically. If you have to move for a mechanic, or you forget to hit it or whatever, even for like 5 seconds, things happen. It is what it is. And you look down, and your Gloomhound's like at like 25 seconds on cooldown. It's not like, oh, hit it again. Let me rephrase that. Let me just show you. So, for example, if we're going into combat here, whatever, I don't have a Tyrant, it's no big deal. Or a Grimoire, it's fine, no big deal. Apparently I can't cast spells. There we go, cool, we're back. So I'm a Tyrant here normally, right? So, normal Tyrant, whatever, no big deal for the most part. Dogs, a purple dog, and all that. I'm a Tyrant here. Now, so my cooldown on Gloomhound is 21 seconds. Tyrant is 55. Basically, with how you cast Gloomhound or Charhound before your Tyrant, I need to cast that spell almost on cooldown. If I miss that or hold it for a few seconds, it makes me delay my Tyrant, which is even more awkward. So let's say, get ready to cast it here, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, I gotta move for a mechanic. All right, let's head over here, do whatever. Or I'm casting a hand, dogs are off cooldown, yeah, whatever, cast them, cast a bolt. I look down, and I have dog again. Oh, I have dog, cool. Oh, I'm gonna cast dog, sure. Oh, my Tyrant's 25 seconds away. So now I have to push my Tyrant back 15 seconds because I didn't cast my dog on time. And it makes things feel really awkward. Now, you can just sort of like, maybe if you're skilled enough to like set up a Tyrant on the fly in combat towards the end of it, make it so, like, you know, Charhound's your last cast going into your Tyrant ramp. But look at the odd desync here, right? Now, comparatively, if Charhound or, you know, Fellhound, basically any Vile Fiend, because this is a Vile Fiend, right? If the cooldown was 25 seconds and not 30, it wouldn't change anything as far as giving you more damage. Wouldn't do anything, because you're still going to go, every Tyrant has a Vile Fiend in it, or a Gloomhound, or a Charhound, and you can still cast one in between each Tyrant. It wouldn't be like, oh, it's 25 now, I'm getting 2 extra Vile Fiends per fight. No. You would literally still cast one between every Tyrant, but it would give you a lot more leeway to, like, move for a mechanic, or cast a different spell, or do this and that, and then look down and be like, okay, now I can cast my dog, right? Because finding time to stand still and cast at times can be a bit awkward, right? So making this 25 seconds possibly instead of 30 would be great. Big quality life change. I think to a similar extent, when it comes to Tyrant ramp, once again, if there's some way to make, like, general Tyrant ramp faster, like without, like, the Grimoire cast and the GCD of Grimoire and the Charhound cast and the Shadow Bolt and the Dog cast and the Hand cast and the Bolt cast and the Hand cast and the Tyrant cast, that'd be pretty solid as well. I'm not sure what the actual answer is. I mean, you can make this, like, you know, baseline 1 second cast, so it's a lot faster. People have said make Tyrant instant cast for a long time. I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's a reason why it's not. But you could make maybe Dogs cast faster. Maybe make this cast faster. Could even make Tyrant cast faster. People have mentioned maybe bringing this out of PvP, putting it in PvE, make it like a 35% reduction instead of 15. Maybe make Dreadstalker's cooldown shorter as well. Maybe just put this somewhere up here, somewhere in the tree where it's relevant. You can put it maybe, I don't know, in one of these slots somewhere. But something that can make Tyrant setups faster, because between, like, the punishing cooldown of half a minute on Vile Fiend, and how at times it can be a little awkward setting up Tyrants in combat with mechanics, movement, so on and so forth, and like the 28-second ramp window you need every minute, it does feel a little punishing as Demonology. But with the recent changes that have come into Hand of Gul'dan, Dogs damage being buffed, the Dogs giving 2 cores back again, thankfully, every time, and Grimoire being buffed, I have been enjoying Demonology a lot more. It does feel more mobile. A couple things we talked about in this video here and there could be addressed, but overall, we'll see what happens. So thanks for watching, guys. Wraps it up. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully you guys share some feelings as to how I do with the current state of Warlock and, you know, just all that stuff. Feedback wise, now we've gotten the patch 11.0.5 and 11.0.7 is on PTR. Hopefully in a month or so 11.1, and before you know it, man, we're going to be in another raid. Especially it's going to be pretty insane. So I'm excited, but hopefully you guys agree with these points. If you have any feedback you want to put in the comment section down below, feel free to do so. I'll read through it. If it's relevant, I agree with it, which, you know, y'all have some pretty good ideas sometimes. I'll toss it in the feedback doc whenever we make it for patch 11.1. If you guys like any Wiki Wars add-ons or profiles on the video, links to Twitch, Discord, the website down below are up here as well, if you want them all for free. At the same time, like always, a massive shout out to my patrons for all support on Patreon. Thank y'all a million times. Like always, I greatly appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, there'll also be a link up here, you know, as well as down below. Now, I venture to guess, I don't think they've put out the date for patch 11.07 at this point. Maybe there's some rumors that there's somewhere some date has to be out by. I'm not sure. But like I said, I would guess that within a month and a half or so, we're probably in patch 11.1 on PTR. My guild's working on Mythic Antrek now. Should be dead in a couple weeks. At the max. I'm excited to kill it. I'm excited for PTR. And honestly, I'm excited to see what happens to Warlock. Because, you know, there's some pretty solid things. I enjoy Lock a lot now, playstyle-wise. But I think things could be even better. So, we'll see where it goes. Wishful thinking, all that, and hopefully it comes true. So, thanks for watching, guys. Much love. If you like the video, hit the like and sub buttons below. Helps out a ton. And I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.